Okay, say if you didn't hear the little robot, we are currently recording. How's your day going so far?
My day is going amazing. I am so excited. I can't believe Movers Ultimate comes out in 2 days.
You're right.
Crazy. How's your day?
My day is going pretty well. I am doing interviews back to back, but it's been pretty good. I
Nice.
imagine you're probably doing the same
Yeah, yeah.
thing.
It's been pretty much 2 weeks solid of my life, but all good things. All good things.
So you had said like you can't believe Movers Ultimate's coming out this week with the pandemic and everything. When was this filmed?
We filmed it. I guess technically in the industry now they would call this a pandemic film because we were originally slated to film in spring of 2020, I think April or May, um, because all the pre-production and casting took place in 2019. And I remember like 2 weeks into the pandemic hitting the US, Ben called me and was just like, yeah, think we might need to wait and see what happens. I was like, yeah, we do. So
Yeah.
it was sometime midsummer that, a lot more information was coming out. The film industry was kind of sort of figuring out how to do things semi-safely. And so we just followed all of those guidelines, and he had to not only reschedule but relocate the film. So we ended up filming in Lebanon, Ohio, which is Cincinnati area, in September of 2020. And the reason for that switch was because they found the whole film takes place pretty much in one location. And so they found a location, and luckily the film takes place in a mansion of a house. So, the 20 people, he had to basically also take it down to a skeleton crew and figure out, that whole arrangement. And so we all lived on set from the second that we all stepped foot on set and got tested beforehand and everything. Nobody left until they were done. And then strategically did one day at the second location and just made that last because everybody left and got on their flights from there. So we all traveled as a unit to the second location and then left. So this was a pandemic film through and through, and it's taken a year and a half, 2 years to come out because pandemic slowed down the post-production process as well, which anyone in this industry can relate to.
Definitely. Now, you said you shot in Lebanon, Ohio. I know there were a couple references to Ohio in the film. I think your character works in Columbus, and
Yes.
one of the movers was supposed to go to OSU. I was curious because I'm from Toledo, Ohio. I was curious
Oh, okay.
if there's any particular reason that you guys chose Ohio, if any of you live in the state.
Ben Rude, the director and writer, is from Ohio. I can't remember which city. I think it might be Cincinnati or Columbus, but he's from Ohio and he went to college, I think at Ohio State. I know it was an Ohio university. And so he was thrilled to find a location there. And but I think all of the Easter eggs were already written in the script. Whether or not we filmed in Ohio, he was putting those in there because he just has a love and attachment for it. So it all worked out for a reason. And we
Sure.
ended up doing like a hometown thank you screening last summer when the film was initially done. There's been a couple re-edits since then, but we did go back to the location we filmed and held like a COVID safe screening at a theater there. And anyone in that town was welcome to come and see it just as a thank you. And just, again, show love to the area. Sven loves it.
So I was watching I saw the film, but I was also watching your footage reel, and I had
Okay.
seen footage in your footage reel that is not in the film, like an alternate scene, um, with like you were talking about the bed bugs by the truck. and like he was messing with you, uh, and trying to like pretending to pull one off you. I don't believe that's in the movie.
Oh yeah, no, that scene is in the movie.
Oh,
It
it
is.
is?
Mhm,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I must have
I was
missed.
trying
I
to think.
was
I mean, you could have been correct. So I was waiting to see which scene you were talking about because there have been, I think, three re-edits of the film until we got the final version. And there was a lot cut out, mainly because a lot of the movie is improv. We would have the situation on the page, but then everyone just got so into character, and each character is just extremely ridiculous that after we would do what was in the script, Ben would basically just let us go and be like, okay, do whatever you want. And it was just crazy, funny, ridiculous, off the walls. And those are usually the takes that made it into the film. But there was so much of that that we would have had a 6-hour movie if it was all included. So there are a few deleted scenes, which who knows, maybe those will be released one day.
so your character, I am curious to know about. Have you ever played a character in your past that you feel like parallels? Not Sarah. What was
Susan.
Susan? Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do you feel like there's any other characters that you've played that parallel Susan?
I feel like Susan is very different from any other character that I've played in her personality. Funny enough, I think Susan mirrors my own personality, like say Marie in real life, more than anything. Whereas characters that I have portrayed in the past have had far less similarities to me. And so I've had to, I'm drawn to characters that are very different from me. I love a challenge. So getting to peel back those layers and really discover how they would think that's different than me. I just love that process. Susan, ironically, thinks a lot like me and acts a lot like me, especially when there's commotion going on. I'm usually the one just standing there kind of looking around like, what are these idiots doing? So she definitely has a lot of that going on, but she is I think she's more grounded and more down to earth than I am, which is saying something because I think I'm very down to earth. However, I in the process of filming, I realized I think this is true for all the characters in the film, but Susan as well, that she just feels stuck. I think they all kind of feel stuck in their own way. And ironically, I think that that's a theme that might have been tying a lot of the characters that I've played in the past together that I didn't realize. And that, again, acting is all about channeling how you feel in real life and personifying it in different ways. So yeah, in that way, she is similar to characters I've played in the past, but personality wise, she's completely different. I love my greatest, the best compliment someone can give me is if they don't recognize me in the film, like being able to completely transform myself. And I have 2 films that haven't even come out yet that I've done in the past 6 to 8 months where my characters are, I showed pictures to some people I knew and they were like, who's that? And I was just like, yes, I did it. They have no
I had
idea.
seen you had some red reddish hair
Mhm.
and some things, and then you had brown hair and other things.
Yeah, I've transformed a lot. I think that's an artist syndrome, constantly remaking ourselves. Although I have stuck with my natural hair for long enough now, but that is mainly due to a film that I can talk about called Unsinkable, and it's about the
The
aftermath of
Titanic. I was
Titanic.
looking
Yeah,
into that. Yeah.
and so for that film, which has been the longest process I have ever had with a project, I think it's going on 5 years now since casting. I had 3 rounds of auditions, got casted. The production was delayed so many times for so many different reasons. And this past December, I finally wrapped on it. But for my character, for that, it has to be completely, natural, everything, because of it's a period piece. So I just been hesitant to believe it's actually done, and be able to, change up anything appearance wise.
Yeah, and that helps you because it's such a completely different setting. It helps you with your chameleon, uh,
Mhm.
like being a chameleon and sinking into those roles.
Yeah,
Um, you,
that was a fun one. Really, which I hesitate to say because it's so tragic, but
yeah.
it was just unlike anything I've ever done. And they
That's,
did everything practically, and I can't wait for people to see that one.
you say it's called Unsinkable.
Unsinkable, yeah.
What I know you said it's a period piece and it's obviously kind of sad, but what genre would you uh,
It's
classify
definitely
it as?
it's definitely a period piece drama. And it's different. That this is a common question I get, is it like James Cameron's Titanic? No, besides the fact that we almost filmed at his facility in Mexico. This one it's so different, and I love it because it's historically accurate. It's based on apparently after the disaster where the Titanic sank. Some years later, they held hearings in the Senate where they brought in any survivors of the tragedy, as well as anyone involved in the creation of the ship. And they basically made everyone give testimony, and it was a trial to try and figure out if anybody was at fault for what happened. And so this kind of explores the politics. I hate to say that, but it's true. The politics around what happened and the relationship between the political sphere and the people on the boat, which I'm one of, that went through it.
Okay, so your character is one of the survivors
Yes. Well, I can't say that, but
then. Okay,
she is someone that was on the
on the
Titanic.
boat. Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Then I believe I saw you also have a science fiction movie coming up. Uh,
Yes,
can you talk
actually,
about that?
I can. It's called Artificial Existence. Um, and actually, it's been in festivals for almost a year now. It has won, I think, 25 now festivals around the world. So it's out in festivals, but it has yet to be released to the public because anyone that's not familiar with how festival runs work, you cannot show a film to the public in any way until it has completed its festival run. You'll be disqualified for festivals if you've shown it publicly. So I just spoke with the director of that, John Marshall, the other day, and I think he said he still has a few more months of festivals for that, and then it will come out. But it has just done tremendously well. We're just blown away every single time that it wins something. Yeah, it's a sci-fi. How do I put it? It's like a sci-fi thriller, futuristic, and my character Evelyn, basically they live in this dystopian society where AI it's very relatable, but AI basically is being utilized by the elite to control the masses in ways that would be of advantage to them and disadvantage to the poor and the underprivileged and everything. And she does not like that and tries to rebel. And
So
I don't think I could say more than that.
yeah, I was gonna say I just wanted to ask if, like, because in your footage reel,
Mhm,
there was part where you had something in your neck and you were like trying to like I don't know if
mhm.
you cut it out. Is that from that movie?
Yes, that
Okay.
is. The chips are basically how the elite, how the government tracks everybody. And so it's a society where nobody has to work, nobody has to earn wages or anything. Everything is evenly distributed, but the return on that is you have to wear this chip, and it's not negotiable. And so most people think, well, this is great. I don't have to do anything, except everything in your life is monitored. Your conversations, everything you do, including your thoughts sometimes can be monitored depending on the level of chip that you have. It's a very complex world, and I really think that John did such a good job in that world building. Like he found a way to explain a lot in a short amount of time that could have taken a very long amount of time.
That sounds really interesting. I'm definitely gonna put this part of the transcript on our sci-fi site. So I'll
Oh,
make sure
thanks.
to send you that as
I
well.
can send you a private link if you want to check it out.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'll make sure to give you my info after this.
Thank you. Yeah, that'd be
Um,
great.
so you also have something, since we talked about COVID a bit, you have something called Very COVID Christmas. Is that what it
Yes.
is? Um,
Yeah.
can you talk about that at all? It sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, actually, that's what the awards in the background are for.
I wasn't going to mention the whole wall of awards.
Well, a Very COVID Christmas won 3 Telly Awards. I'm now on the Telly Award Judging Council. This obviously predated that, but in 2020, my best friend, Ali Mazzoni, she is a film producer, and she and I were hanging out for the 1600th time in her kitchen because she was like one of the 3 people in my COVID bubble. And we were just hanging out and bored as hell. And she was like, I don't understand. Like, nobody's making anything right now. I understand why they can't, but like, I wish we could make something. And I said, well, why don't we? Why don't we make something? I think that you and I can figure out how to do it safely. And she is, Allie is a former nuclear engineer turned film producer. I brag that I have everything to do with that, but also feel immense guilt about it because she went from that profession to film. But it turns out she has always wanted to do it. And then when we became friends, she got introduced to the world and slowly started transitioning. And now she completely gave up her nuclear engineer career and is producing films. And I'm so proud of her. But basically I said, let's challenge ourselves. We basically gave ourselves like a 48-hour film project challenge, but we gave ourselves a month. I think this was in November of 2020. And I said, let's have something out by Christmas. Let's, and she's into all those cheesy rom-coms on the Hallmark channels. She's like, I want to do something that is a tribute to these Hallmark Christmas movies that I love so much. So she wrote it. I think it was 2 weeks later, she had a 7-episode script, and we, edited it down, and we figured out a way to make this thing with under 10 people. We had one location, and then we had one character that, actually we had 3 characters that only participated via Zoom calls or FaceTime or something like that. So we were never in the same room. And then we had the romantic interest, the male lead. He was the only other actor that would come on to set with me. And we just did all of his stuff first. The first couple of days, we all, tested and kept a bubble set. And Allie and I both wore a gazillion hats each. I edited it. We just took on the whole thing ourselves. And for us, it was a solution to boredom. We had no idea how it was going to turn out. We didn't really care how it was going to turn out. It was more just to do something and, execute that artistic energy. And people loved it. And then it won 3 Telly Awards plus some other ones. And we were just like, oh, okay. It's moments like that, I think, in an artist's career, at least, those moments really matter and reignite the spark for a lot of people. Like when you're able to let go of the business side and I need to pay my bills and I really, really care what people think. There's this saying actually that I love, and I don't remember where it comes from, but it's something along the lines of make art, and while people are deciding whether they like it or not, make more art. Like, don't care about what they think. Just make whatever you want to make, whatever message you want to put out there. And it's funny because the times that I haven't cared how it's received, those are the times that, at least in my experience, it's been received the best, which is ironic, but also I'm like, I know the universe is doing that on purpose.
Would you be like, has that made you consider doing more Hallmark type films, or since it was so successful?
It definitely did. And I am in talks with an exec at the Hallmark Channel at the moment.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to ask, when I was reading, I saw that you were in the first Zoom play. You had
Yes.
and it's been getting a lot of attention. Can you talk about that a little?
Yes, that's actually another really great example of what I'm talking about, is just expelling that creative energy. During the pandemic, I think it was, the worst. I think everybody just, after a few months of panic about what was going on in the world, artists went through this crisis really around the world, where the industry was shut down. No one could leave their house. I know I, for one, along with others, was just overwhelmed with like just being stuck, not being able to do anything, and figuring out. It was kind of beautiful in a way, though, because I saw people really figure out how to do that and how to utilize the internet to, its greatest advantage. And like, you and I are on Zoom right now. This was pretty much born through the pandemic, and through this platform, I have had so many amazing experiences that were only possible because people started connecting in this way. Before the pandemic, if someone had said, I want to video chat with you on the internet on this big ass screen, I would have been like, my introvert alarms are going off. Okay. Now I love it. It's such a great way to like connect, and there's so many opportunities in it. And when was this? This was just, excuse me, a few months into the pandemic.
I love your
And
nails. Sorry to interrupt you. I love your
yeah,
nails.
sorry.
I love your nails.
I was gonna tell you I
purple's my
love
favorite
yours.
color.
I know you put your hands up a couple times, and I was like, I absolutely love when I meet someone who has the same nail polish color on as me. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're best friends. I put a little
Well,
glitter
I
on.
have two different. This one side's
Oh,
but this side is
is
definitely.
that on purpose? I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
I like that. You can go like this. It's like,
I usually just do like that.
I love that your glasses match your shirt too. It
Thank
props
you.
so well.
Thank you. They're supposed to be purple, but every time I wear a blue shirt, it's just like they look
They
exactly
look
the same.
blue.
Yeah, they do. This was the
It's funny I'm
closest they
wearing them
had.
today 'cause my eyes are the same kind of way. Like, they look so green when I wear green, and when I don't wear green, they look more brown. But
So I way interrupted you.
no,
I'd
it's
like to
fine.
continue.
I love tangents. They're my favorite. So anyway, yeah, a few months into the pandemic, I received an email from a production company in Hong Kong called Crispy Productions. And Christina, I'm not going to try and say her last name, Pokanovich, something like that. She is this gorgeous Russian actress who founded this production company, and very much like me, just wanted to do something. And she has produced plays and films and has a studio in Singapore now. And she, at the time, just said, I want to try something that's never been done before. I want to try to produce a play that's live through Zoom. And nowadays, that might not seem like so revolutionary, but we were actually the first people to do it, because the idea was born in the pandemic. And
Right.
we put on this 2.5 hour long play in July of 2020. And we had a live Zoom audience with a live, they somehow orchestrated it. So she hosted it and did an introduction. And then there was a cast of 5, and we were all in different countries around the world. I had to audition for this as well, by the way. So they auditioned actors all over. So I was just, amazed that basically it's funny also how the pandemic has connected people in such a way, but
Mhm.
also now it doesn't matter where you're located. It's not just New York and LA and Atlanta and London. You could be in some like one stoplight town in this weird in the middle of nowhere state, and you can audition the same way someone can in New York. It's really cool in that way. But anyway, I got the part. I was the only one from the US. One was from the Philippines, one was from the UK, one was from China, one was from Australia, and then one was in Hong Kong or Singapore, I'm sorry. And it
I
was
had to feel
funny.
amazing.
It was I mean, we're all such good friends now, which is crazy to say, especially Christina and I. We talk all the time. I've never met any of these people in real life. We had rehearsal every single day for a month and a half, and it was funny because I drew the short straw in the scheduling, because this play was going to be executed on Hong Kong time. That's the opposite side of the globe from where I am in the States. And so on West Coast time compared to Hong Kong time, for the entire month of July that year, I did not see the sun.
I was
I
gonna
had
say you'd be up all night.
Yeah, my rehearsals were from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. every single night. And then the actual production ended up being from 2 a.m. We didn't get done until like 6 a.m. my time, because we had the whole play, then we had a Q&A, then we had like a virtual cast party. We had a virtual tech week, everything. Nobody saw me. I didn't see anybody for a whole month except for these people. So it was such a cool experience, though. We really did. And that production got a lot of attention and a lot of press, because it basically showed that it was possible, and a lot more people, I think, tried to do it after that. Like we spent so much time figuring out which room each of us was going to be in at each time, and we would choose walls that kind of matched other people if we were supposed to be in the same room to make it look like we were. And then we would even create the same props. We would work with each other and send each other instructions. This is how I made this prop, and duplicate it. And there are times where we would pass it back and forth. So like, I have this prop, the blanket folded up with a thing tied around it with a picture on top. I would hand it to the person and they would take it because they had it waiting right there. And in the Q&A, the audience was going wild. They were like, how did you do that? We spent so many nighttime hours figuring it out. It was awesome.
That sounds like a crazy experience, and I imagine a lot of people are a lot of people are gonna pick up on that now.
I think it's still available through the production company's website, Chris P Productions. I think it's on the internet somewhere. I don't remember where. At the time, you had to buy a ticket, but I don't know if they've put it out to the public since then.
Well, I don't want to keep you forever, but is there anything else about Movers Ultimate? Is there anything else about Movers Ultimate we didn't talk about that you would like to mention?
Yes, I would. So Movers Ultimate, I'm so excited for it. It comes out this Friday, August 19th on Amazon Prime. And it's like a 1990s style bromance comedy. It's about two best bros who work for a moving company, don't necessarily like their jobs, and they have different reasons for being there. And they just feel very stuck. And their goal is to make it to their 10-year high school reunion that night, because the girls who got away are going to be there and they will have a second chance to see them. They both have different goals for how they want that to go down as well. But they need to get to their high school reunion that night, and they are given the worst move of their lives that day. And so my character, Susan, I play the daughter of the family they have to move, and it is a nightmare move. It's hilarious because we've had a lot of moving companies that saw the trailer. A couple of them, we extended an invitation to our red carpet premiere to come see it, and they came up to us afterwards and said, it's unfortunately very accurate how this stuff happens. Yeah, get insurance when you move.
Mhm.
And also just all the feelings around it, and not only the stuff that the family has to deal with the movers, but also all the stuff, I don't know if we can swear on here, all the
You
stuff
can
that
swear. Go
oh,
ahead.
all the shit that the movers have to deal with this crazy ass family. They just like it's insane to know that this is based on real life too. And Ben Rood, who directed it, also wrote it, and he based it on his real life experience. He worked for a moving company for about 6 years, and he also did landscaping for A-list celebrities in LA for a few years in his past. So he kind of jumbled that all together to create this film, and it is just, it's like belly laugh funny from start to finish.
It's
I'm so
pretty
excited.
crazy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty funny. I
So
I really like, for me, I like a decade ago I used to move stuff for Rent a Center, like
oh really?
so like it, like you said, it was all very accurate.
I need you to write a review. Oh my god.
I want to know if the boxes were filled with anything at all, or if they were all empty.
Sometimes I mean, we couldn't put actual breakables in. There are scenes where certain characters are supposed to act like they're really, really heavy, and other characters are supposed to be able to lift them with no problem. So they would be filled with things to be able to do both of those actions. Like the ones where Andy's holding 6 boxes in one arm. There's nothing in those boxes except
Right.
enough weight to keep them piled. Um,
And when they're kicking them and throwing them and kicking them.
yeah, I think they were filled with like paper or a blanket or something that couldn't be hurt. But that's not to say that there weren't some actual antiques and furniture completely destroyed in this film. Our production designer, she was just cringing the whole time because there is, you see this in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, but there's a particular piece of furniture called the armoire, the heirloom, and it's very important to this family. And what happens to it is just so cringeworthy. She was like almost in tears on set because she was like, this is actually such a cool, expensive piece of furniture that I spent so much time finding, and you guys are treating it like a piece of trash. We're like, but they're supposed to.
Right.
That's the point, is they don't actually care about anybody's possessions at all. It's just, they just want to go home. They want to party.
They want to go to the reunion.
For the reunion, yeah. And I will say this too. The movie comes out on Friday, and Sunday at 7 p.m. on my socials, I'm holding a live cast Q&A on, it'll be on my Instagram live, which is just at say_Marie, SE_Marie. So if anyone watches the film on Friday and then they want to ask questions to the cast live, join us on Sunday at 7 p.m. and you'll have a chance to do that.
So will it be the full cast there?
We will have, so Instagram only lets you do 4 people at a time, and we have a main cast of 8. So there will be 4 of us on this Sunday, and then the following weekend we're going to do a second one with the other 4. Just kind of spread it out a little bit, give people a little more time to watch the film.
Yeah.
But the initial one will be this Sunday because we imagine a lot of people are going to watch it this weekend.
That'll be awesome. That'll be really cool. Is there anything else? I know I've drilled you on a ton of your projects. Is there anything else that you have that you would like to plug, whether it be something that you've done in the past or something that you have going on, a project that we haven't talked about?
Oh my gosh. It's so crazy. You were so good at like digging up all the good ones. You really, really did. I will say one thing is that I have a fun, cool project coming out I don't know when it's coming out, but we're filming it in a month. And it's in league with George Romero. The George Romero Foundation is sponsoring this project and producing it, I should say. And we have some original cast members from some of his most famous projects in it as well. And I'm really, really excited about it because it was a Romero approved script before he left us. And just be on the lookout for that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Definitely will. I appreciate you taking the time. I actually have one other question.
Sure.
You have done voice acting, you've done a lot of commercial work. I was
Yeah.
curious if you like to balance and kind of step out of the regular actress box every once in a while, or if you're looking more to just stay in acting.
That's a great question. And I'm going to put my foot straight into my mouth right now. My personal relationship with acting as a craft it tends to put me into the direction of film or scripted episodics. And I love diving deep into complex layered characters that help me discover things about myself, as well as give the audience something to relate to. Commercial work is something that comes along, and as an actor, we have to pay the bills too. So just me personally, nothing against commercial work, but if somebody came to me tomorrow and said, you never had to do it again, I probably wouldn't, except in the capacity of using my platform to endorse something that I really feel like could make the world a better place or help people. That I'm really, really adamant about. I'm very passionate about putting a certain message and image out there in the world. And I really do want to help people and use my time on this planet to hopefully make it a little bit better. So commercials so far have been bill payers. If you're not in this industry, you might not know that, commercials pay a ton more than films do until you reach a certain point. But even then yeah, exactly. You got to eat. And even people that have quote unquote make it will tell you that it still doesn't pay the bills. I read, it's like in Variety or something the other day, Sydney Sweeney, she's crushing it right now. And she said, I can't take 6 months off. I can't pay my bills if I stop. And, also you see all these huge, some of the biggest actors in the world, they all have products that they've come out with and different businesses. And it's not sustainable to think that acting on its own will supply you with the type of income that you need to live your life.
I think it's what, like 1% of actors, like 1% of actors or something like that that works full time or
yeah.
But
I heard this statistic.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I do think it's a really important thing to touch on though, because I think a lot of people have a very big misconception about the industry and what it's like as an actor, as an artist. And unfortunately, just in life, you can't just do whatever the fuck you want and also pay your bills.
Right.
It's very rare. I'm not to say that's not possible. It's happened for
starving artist for a reason.
It's not just a saying, it's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Yeah. So I mean, you have to figure some other stuff out, and but just don't let go of the reason and the drive and the passion. And I think being aware of that is step one, really. So for me, I at least have found a good balance between doing commercial work and doing film work so that I can say I make 100% of my income through acting. It's not all the acting I want to do.
What is the what was so you're very passionate about it, obviously, but what was the like tinder that sparked the passion for acting and getting into this field in the first place?
I did stunt work.
Oh,
I
for
was
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, I was Rachel's stunt double for a couple years, and I also did stunts for Vanessa Shaw on one project. And I got a film production degree with some performance aspects, um, bachelor's in that. And then right after that, I was working for ironically a commercial production studio from a producing aspect. At the same time, I was just trying to get my feet wet in the, being on set world. I wanted to see what that was all about because I had this business acumen and understanding from this side of the camera, but I had never set foot on a set before for a film at least. I was doing these small commercials with the studio. And so it's a long, boring story, but basically I went out to be Rachel's double on a project, and I have a very extensive physical resume just because I'm an adrenaline junkie. And so I've pursued and trained in a lot of things growing up. And so when I went out for that, I didn't know they were looking for a stunt double for her as well. And they sat down with me and asked if I'd be interested. And I screened for that and was chosen. And then they sent me for certifications and all that jazz. And long story short, became her stunt double. We had such a great relationship and it worked so well that a lot of times doubles will get attached to the actors and just follow them project to project. So I was loving it and I did that. But along the way, I found myself, I couldn't wait to go to set. I was so excited. And the whole time that I was there, I was looking around, just basically studying and learning and absorbing, memorizing everything, like the lingo and how things worked. And then I was going back to my shitty commercial production job and being miserable. And I was like, oh, I have to edit stuff. I have to cast people. Like I didn't like it at all. And eventually I left. And I realized in those couple of years that my passion was for performance. And so it was through that experience that I realized I wanted to be an actor. And I had to sit down and have the talk eventually with Rachel and the whole team and say, I'm so grateful for this opportunity, but I want to do what you do. And I can't do that unless we rip the Band-Aid off completely. And not only was she extremely understanding, but she helped me get my first agent. Like, she was so supportive. And it was just such an amazing experience. Like I don't regret it for 1 second because it really helped me. It helped me realize what it was that I wanted to be doing. And bonus, I do all my own stunts in my projects now. I think there's only 1 or 2 stunts I've ever had that I couldn't do personally, but because I'm certified and have continued to train in stunt work, I do my own stunts in my projects now. So that experience still lives on today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I know I've almost rapped like 12 times. This time I really
You
really
love
know.
me, just want to keep you forever. I get it.
You can be my stunt double.
I would love to be your stunt double. I'll have to get some cool blue glasses that look purple in other light.
Mhm. Yeah, well, it was so wonderful speaking with you.
You too.
I really hope that we get to talk again in the future for one of your future projects.
I would absolutely love that. I will be in touch. I'll send you a private link to Artificial Existence. You have to let me know what you think.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, and just stay on for a second after we are done recording. But thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful time, a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Joe. This was amazing.
Yeah, thank you.